Hi, okay, so this is a walkthrough of the next steps for Spin Genie, building on where we are, which is this flow, showing the various content that we need. So the next step is a very basic plotting out of these four areas: the slots area, the mini game, generally how we might be communicating progress through the saga, and the thing that the player starts with and returns to throughout the experience, which is a deposit bonus, again tied into the theme. So without further ado, let's look at the screen content. I will explain that looking at after very simply blocking out the content, the next step of what I did was to start thinking about how the theme would tie it all together, and that came up with some issues, and it's a very good point to reflect on, because we sort of hit a crossroads as to where the creative might go. So we have our first screen that the players see, where we will be communicating a deposit bonus, and that's the first opportunity to theme it to the saga. We've got a general lobby content screen, those coloured boxes representing the choice of slots. Again, opportunity to brand everything with regard to the saga. The game is going to have to do the same thing as well. And the fourth key content screen is the sort of surround whenever people are playing slots. So from this point on, it was a kind of sketching process for working out how that branding might work, how the creative around the saga might work. Starting with the deposit bonus is the first opportunity to start tying some themes together and immediately communicating to the player how some of these things are connected. So we've talked about picking a lamp might be a nice way to start things, and if the player picks a lamp, rubs it or releases it in some way, genie smoke and magic and sparkles are released, and if they immediately go up to the nav, and this little thing is quite key here, we'd see that immediately powers the kind of progress bar between two chapter points in the saga, your current journey in the saga. We see that shoot up, and we see that unlock the kind of milestone at the end, and we immediately see that those milestones are good news. They are deposit bonuses, and that would be the first time that the player understands that there's okay, so it's sort of Arabian stuff, it's magic and adventure. That lamp's good news, and it's all about rubbing the lamp, releasing good stuff, releasing XP, and that fuels progress. So there's a few some creative potential in how that progress is shown, how the map and the saga is shown, with sort of side-scrolling maps of changing worlds that you're flying through, and the XP being your breadcrumbs kind of thing, passing you through the chapters of the saga, and the game being a generous boost on that journey between each chapter. So I was playing around with a few different ways of how we might be showing the progress between these chapters, and starting to think about how the deposit bonus could do a lot of the work. So you take that opportunity to show the bonus and tie it into the saga, and also have an opportunity to point to the next bit of the saga. This was the point at which something started to dwindle in me about this, and it was the disconnect between this kind of rich story-based, almost sort of animated movie kind of concept, and the much lighter and more direct graphical approach that very sort of popular high traffic sites like Jackpot Joy um, have. They don't have a saga, it's true, but is that the end of the story? Is the way that a lot of gaming sites use sort of photographic representations of their players? It's very immediate, and this is a world away from that, and we knew that, but I started to have my doubts, and I started to think, are we? Is all this stuff going to be too rich and heavy to be very agile with, to be very versatile with, for the lifetime of a player? Isn't there enough rich content in a slot already? Could we have the best of both worlds? Could we have something which was a more generic take on the idea of wishes and good luck genies, um, and open it up a little bit, break away from that Arabian theme? This was one concept of a wishing well, which is more, is kind of more things to more people. But the most important thing was, I kept thinking how in so many promotions you have the player, you have a photographic representation of a contemporary bingo player, contemporary online slots player. They're at the centre of the promotion for bingo sites and slot sites. There's an immediacy there, there's a relevance there. And are we missing out on being able to communicate to the player and just say, this is something that people like you like to play. This is fun for people like you. Is all of this rich illustrative stuff kind of building a wall between us and them in that sense? And that's when I started thinking, is there an opportunity to really put players, very relatable representations of the players, at the heart of our adventure, at the heart of our story, and have the best of both worlds? What would that be like? How could you place them in the kind of global trotting, magical, mysterious adventure that we've talked about so far? And I started thinking, do we need this kind of animated backdrop? Do we need this high concept, high illustration, all singing, all dancing kind of cartoon world, like that Casino Saga has developed for themselves? What we know works are pop-ups. What we know works are splash pages with a direct offer, a direct message, and a very sort of immediate bit of creative. Could we tell our story using that kind of very short and snappy medium, effectively? So here's how I could see that could work. You do your deposit bonuses and you tell your story through your pop-ups of your deposit bonuses, and the representation of the adventure is someone like our player in amongst something which could possibly be illustrative or photographic. I think it could work really nicely if everything else was illustrative. And well, there was this nice mix of a photographic player in a magical world. That would just sort of play on the kind of suspension of disbelief that the players got anyway as they're playing their slots and playing their adventure. This is my recommendation at this stage. I think that it's not proven that a very rich illustrated adventure is relevant to a slots player. I think this builds on successful creative approaches to talking to slots players directly, but it is also a medium for being able to tell the story we want to tell and involving people on a journey. And I also think that you've got to take a deep breath if you go down the Casino Saga route, because it is a very high maintenance, high investment creative route. If you think of the Casino Saga Island, that in itself, God knows how long that took to produce and get right. But what happens when you want to drill down into any one of those areas and start showing more creative about the Roman part of the island or whatever? Whereas these are very modular, and you can see they're bite size in terms of production as well as conceptually for the player. I think it's a very versatile and practical way to go, and powerful as well in terms of communicating what we want to communicate. I brought it back into the storyboard. This just illustrates how this little bar here while you're playing slots would be a conventional progress bar, which would expand to remind you of the milestones of art, that remind you that the milestones are treats and deposit matches, and you're on your way to the next one. That's as far as you got. I hope to see there's a crossroads there, and I will review with you later. Thanks.